This is iUniverse Radio. iUniverse Radio is brought to you by iUniverse, the leading book marketing, editorial services, and supported self-publishing company. iUniverse Radio is produced by TogiNet Radio, on the web at toginet.com.
The title of the book, A Dragon's Mage, and the author is Cecilia Leitz. And Cecilia joins us now on iUniverse Radio. Welcome, Cecilia.
Thank you for having me.
Well, great to have you with us. You are 18 years of age, and this is your second book in this series of 7, which could turn into 9. My goodness, you are ambitious for your age.
Thank you very much.
So how did this mystery thriller with dragons, literally about dragons in our modern day time, how did this come about? Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll get into the plot and the characters and have some fun.
Well, everything started actually in my grade 10 English class, where my teacher actually asked the entire class to either read or write for 15 minutes at the beginning of each class. And I decided to write. And one idea came after another, and instead of just writing about topics that she would suggest for us once in a while, I came up with my own idea. And then everything's just started playing out, and I started writing it more often, and I ended up taking it home with me, which I absolutely devoted most of my time to. Probably shouldn't have, but still did. And it just turned out, by the end of my grade 10 year, I had a manuscript ready to be onto the computer. So then it went onto the computer, and then once it was on the computer, I decided, wow, maybe I should find a publishing company. Now, I'm originally from Stony Plain, Canada, and I was looking for a publishing company in the nearest city, which is Edmonton. And instead of finding that on Google, I came across iUniverse, and one thing led to another, and they published me for my first book. And then once this first book was made, I wanted to write another, and so another was made.
Give us the title of your first book.
A Dragon's Whisperer.
So that was back in 2012, and now we have the new one, which is A Dragon's Mage. As I said before, this is in a series. It could go from 7, at least, what you thought. It could even grow to 9. So this is an ongoing mystery thriller with dragons.
That is right.
And in this case, we got good dragons, right?
Yes, that is.
So let's talk about your character, your main character, Samson Drake Slayer. So tell us about Samson.
So Samson, or Sam as he's referred to by his friends, he is a very shy and he keeps to himself a lot. He is an interesting character. He actually tells his perspective within the second book on Mage's side, whereas the first book was told by Connie, his girlfriend currently in the second book, and she tells how she became a dragon's whisperer. Now, Sam is having a little bit of a hard time because mages and dragons, they've had a big, huge conflict back in past, like 1,500 years ago. And because of the events back then has determined how mages and dragons and how the whole mystic realm views them. So Sam, being a mage and living with a dragon's whisperer, he and the dragon do not get along. Now, Connie has a darkness dragon named Nightly, and he is very overprotective of the whisper, as any dragon would be about the whisper. So he has to cope and try and convince the dragon that he is no threat to him or his whisper, though it's kind of hard after having a 1,500-year grudge throughout history. As they try and work things out, things actually start, or plans and plots are starting to be made. Now, the second book is based in Chicago, and within Chicago, Sam becomes a cop within there with the force and everything. So he's trying to do his duty, and he's committing himself to be more of the part of the human world because he wants to help humans. Humans run the world most likely. Majority of them do not even know that the mystic realm even exists, but he wants to try and protect them from that because things in the mystic realm are still changing, and we as humans don't usually like change, especially not sudden change. But however, we have another mage. She took control of the other mages. Now, there are some still living within Chicago, and mages, though they look different in my tale, they actually look kind of like a cat a bit, because cats can be deceiving and conniving, whereas when the mage's curse took place 1,500 years ago, which took away the mage's appearance as a human and stripped them of their magical powers. So now mages walk around, well, in their true form, they have gray skin, black hair, black cat-like ears, and pale yellow slit eyes. So humans could tell the difference between themselves and mages now. But during the years, they've been able to cope and morph back into humans. But whenever they expose their true self or want to expose their power, they will return to their mage self, or their true form, and as I call it. So we have this one mage, and she wants to eradicate the humans. She loathes humans with a fiery passion. So so there's a device hidden within Chicago that can eradicate all the humans in the vicinity. So it's Sam's job to try and stop that.
And so we have Connie Witzberg and her dragon, and we have Judy and a new dragon. Tell us about the roles that they play.
Judy is just a regular human. She actually is just kind of supporting character between Sam and Connie, because Connie has her dragon, and she is part of a Witzberg family, which has been known for being whispers throughout the years. And their job is to be part of the mystic realm, but still protect the human world from it as well, which is kind of what Sam's trying to do there as well. Now, our new dragon, his name is Skadoosh. Now, he's not Judy's dragon. He is actually a friend of Sam's dragon. He's a human who actually lived in Africa and came over to America because that's where his father was. And our guardians, who I have not mentioned in our little interview on the paper, they gave him the dragon egg, and then Windbird dragon hatched, and Elliot got Earth dragon, and he named him Skadoosh, which is named after a sneeze, since every time Skadoosh sneezes, he sneezes the word Skadoosh.
So we have the mages who hate humans, and we have others with dragons that are in this mystical fight then, in this mystical realm fight, right here on Earth.
Yep.
And you have a theme here. I'll read this statement from you. You can comment on it. It says, you ask a question, how far do you have to run until you realize you're only running from yourself? So that is a theme in your book.
Yeah, because with Sam, when he's telling his perspective, he's having these multiple conflicts within himself, because he wants to be more human, but he's actually a mage. He's a pure-blood mage, which means he can't ignore the mages. Now, mages have been have had a tyrant rule over them for the past 1,500 years. And when I meant just one tyrant, I mean just one tyrant. This guy has found a way to be almost immortal. But when Connie killed him, her and her friends eradicated him from the scene in the first book, mages have been able to be more free with themselves because they haven't had a tyrant running their lives. But that doesn't mean he didn't have any followers. So Sam grew up with this tyrant. The tyrant was kind of like he called himself his older cousin to everyone else. But basically, he was the one who trained Sam from the very beginning. And now that he's regained his freedom, and he's finding all these conflicts between the mages and the human world still, he's debating whether he should go back to the mages or hide in the human world and stay away from them as much as he can. But being the boyfriend to Connie Witzberg, he can't really forget about the mystic realm, but even though he wants no part of it, so he has to try and find a way to stop running from the world that he was born into and grew up in, and learn to stand his ground, take charge so that he could help his race instead of seeing them destroy themselves and the human world along with it.
Why the good dragons? How are they good? Why are they good?
Dragons aren't necessarily evil. When I describe it in the first book, A Dragon's Whisper, they are actually protectors. Why do dragons live in castles? Why do dragons live in forests? Why do they live where they are? And then why are they always ferocious towards humans? Well, let's think of the animal kingdom. They kind of need resources. Humans are abundant, so that's a good quality food source back in the medieval era. But they also had their homes, and when humans come and try and invade their homes, what's the first thing they want to do? Well, they want to protect it, right? So that's what they do. But when the mages started taking over and controlling the dragons with a powerful fist and wanting to control the human world or enslave the human world, they said, no, that's not enough. We want to protect these, not because they're a food source, but because that's life. We don't just kill off everything we see. So, and then the dragons, they actually lay a mark on the land that they want to protect. You destroy the mark, you destroy the dragon, because that is what their lifeline is. So now when they partnered up with humans, they placed their mark on the human. You destroy the human, you destroy the dragon too. But they are just meant to be protectors. That's why we have a dragon's whisper. A dragon cannot hatch without its whisper. If you think of the story Aragon, there's kind of a similar concept in that way too.
So the characters are going to have to face their problems. They can't run from them.
No, because if they have to face them exactly like what you said, because you can't keep running, especially when the person you're running from is yourself. We see in the second book that Sam has an inner conflict. Like every time he sees his reflection, he's seeing the old dictator or the tyrant. He thinks he's being haunted by him, but really it's just his mind being haunted by the thoughts of him. He thinks he's becoming him. That's why he wants to stay away from the mystic realm as much as possible. He wants to help humans. So he's running from himself until he learns to stand his ground and say, no, that's enough. That's not going to be me.
The first book, it's titled Dragon's Whisperer. The one we're talking about now, A Dragon's Mage. Do you have your third book in the works? Do you know the title of it?
It's going to be called A Dragon's Human, because regular humans cannot hear the dragon's voices within the mystic realm because they just know the human language. So this is the third book is going to be kind of interesting because we see through Judy's point of view and how she has to communicate with dragons without having people translate them constantly for her.
Well, tell us the best way to get your book, Cecilia.
You can find it online on various other websites. You can get it at Kohl's, Chapters, Indigo. If you actually go to the publishing company, iUniverse, you can order it from there as well.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on iUniverse Radio.
Thank you for having me.